Welcome to the YouTube Creators Hub podcast, where we help you conquer the internet one video at a time. We cover everything from how to start a YouTube channel to how to make a video go viral. And now, here's your host, the one and only Dusty Porter.
Hello, wonderful people. Hopefully all of you are having a great day. My name is Dusty, the host of the YouTube Creators Hub podcast. It is episode 312 of the show. If you don't know what we do here, just really quickly, we interview wonderful YouTube creators. I talk with them about their journey, their path to success, the different things they've done to succeed on YouTube and beyond, and so much more. So if you're looking for a show that'll give you a behind-the-scenes look of what it takes to become a successful YouTuber and, in general, an entrepreneur, this is the show for you. Huge shout out to TubeBuddy, the main prime sponsor of this show and has been now going on 5 years and beyond. Thank them so much for just being with me from the early stages of the podcast when I only had like a few hundred downloads, and now currently when we have almost 30 to 40,000 downloads per episode, sometimes even more depending on the guest. Thank you to TubeBuddy for continuing to support the show, allowing me to devote the time needed to produce a wonderful and informational and educational show. Thank you to them. Also, the fine folks over at patreon.com/DustyPorter. If you want to get access to our creator or YouTube creator Discord, chat with fine folks over there about everything YouTube. You can, support us, throw a couple of dollars our way. But if you support us at the analyst tier or higher, you will get a shout out on one episode each and every month with your link or name of choice. This week, we have William Foley, Stephen R., and Joshua Griffin. To you three, thank you so much for continuing to support the show, and it's because of folks like you that I'm able to do what I'm currently doing. All right, guys, if you noticed, there was not a show on the feed last week. I was away. I was at the beach. I had my toes in the sand. Now, you may be thinking, oh, it must be nice. He's refreshed. No, I have a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old, so all I did the whole time I was there, sat my butt down on a chair in the beach, and then about 10 minutes later, Daddy, I want to go to the pool. Daddy, I want to go to the hot tub. Daddy, I want to go here. But hey, you know what? I'm not complaining. I loved every minute of it. I was just tired and my legs were sore every single day. But you know what? That's a good sore, right? It was wonderful. So thankful for the ability to go to the beach with my family and spend some time with some people that I normally don't get to spend time with. Now, normally I would have batch recorded. You guys don't care about any of this, but really briefly, I'd ask you to keep my mother in your thoughts and prayers. She is going to be having a rotator cuff surgery. She's had some health stuff go on. This is a big thing. She can't even raise her arm at all. She's got 3 grandbabies currently with another one on the way from my sister. And so with that being said, she wants to be able to lift the kids when they want her to. And the rotator cuff surgery is definitely intense. It's got a long recovery, especially at her age. But you know what? She's a strong woman, and I know she can get through it. So, Mom, if you listen to this, I love you. And hopefully when you're listening to this, you're in the recovery phase already. All right, guys, with all of that out of the way, let's jump into this week's conversation. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's conversation on the YouTube Creators Hub podcast. Super excited today to be joined by Hannah Smolinski. She is a CPA and the founder of Clara CFO Group, a virtual CFO agency providing small businesses with financial clarity and profit maximization strategies. Her experience working for one of the world's largest accounting firms inspired her to make corporate expertise accessible to small business owners through fractional CFO services. She also, which is why she's on the podcast, hosts a YouTube channel with over 36,000 subscribers and uses the platform to help small businesses achieve financial success. Hannah, how are you today?
I am so great, Dusty. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Looking forward to our conversation. As you mentioned to me off air, you're a little different than some of my guests in that you are not a full-time content creator. And so with that being the case, I want you to tell me about your Clara CFO Group YouTube channel, how it came to be, and kind of what I like to say is the origin story of your channel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like this. I never intended to be a YouTube creator. So I guess I always say I'm an accidental YouTuber, but I love it. I'm so glad I'm here now. I started the channel actually in 2018, and I think I've listened to some of your other episodes where this seems to be a common theme. I'm not the only one who's done this, where you started a channel didn't really do much with it, and then decided to really pick it up and run with it. So, and at the beginning of 2020, I was on a strategy meeting with some other like fellow CPAs, and I was like, I think I really need to get back into YouTube, and just happened to put a couple videos up. And then we all know what happened in March of 2020. The pandemic hit, and what was happening is all of my clients needed help figuring out the COVID, what do you call them? Like the federal funding programs. So between PPP and EIDL, everybody was scrambling to get these loans. And what I realized is nobody would know how to get them because the information seemed very locked away. And only few people knew how to actually go out and apply for these loans, and a lot of people didn't know about them. So I was like, well, maybe I can just throw up some videos on YouTube and try to tell as many people as I can about these programs because they're amazing. And then that's where the channel took off. People were watching my videos, asking questions, and then it just kind of blew up from there.
I love that. I love these accidental stories on YouTube. It's very similar to what happened to me almost over a decade ago now, so I definitely can relate to what you're saying. So explain to me then why you continued it. You obviously helped a ton of folks out. You've got a great community, over 36,000 subscribers now on the channel, so you're doing a lot of things right. So explain to me what made you want to continue, and what do you currently do or try to do on the channel?
Yeah, and that was kind of like, there was definitely a point in time where I had to, say, hey, is this something I really want to keep doing? Or is this kind of a one time? I helped, thousands and thousands of people get these loans, get them forgiven and everything. But, what's next? And what I realized is that a lot of people were looking to me for advice and guidance on things that they didn't have access to that type of financial professional in their life for their business. So they might have had maybe a bookkeeper or maybe a CPA, or maybe they're just trying to do everything on their own. And they didn't have anybody to or any kind of single resource to go and ask questions to. And I just started to go, well, like, I have so much information that I can give to people. And I love that YouTube is this amazing free way for people to find out anything they need to know. And why not give away tons of great information so people can go and, do their best work. And I love supporting small business owners. And so it's just a way to have an incredible impact that I would have never been able to have if I was only working one-on-one with clients all the time.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I have done, as you mentioned off air, a little bit of research on your channel. And it's fun to see where you started and where you are currently, as far as your thumbnail design, the type of content you're creating, how you're distributing it. Talk about a couple of things that you've learned along the way. You mentioned you're not a full-time content creator, but you're obviously doing a bunch of things correctly. So what are some things that you're doing that you could recommend to other businesses like yours that's B2B or not necessarily content creators, but everybody as a whole on YouTube? What are some things that you've learned along the way that you think have kind of helped you stand out and help you grow to the point that you are now?
Yeah, I guess when I was trying to think of video ideas, I was always kind of going back to what am I actually seeing in the real world? And that's because I'm a consultant most of the time. So we work with clients one-on-one. What I was seeing is that if my clients were having challenges, or if I was explaining a concept over and over to my clients, it probably means that other people want to know that information as well. And that could be valuable to people. So I was really just trying to think about how do I answer people's questions? And I think when I think about using YouTube in a way that it's, essentially marketing for my business in some ways, but also able to, have this greater impact, I try to think about what's a real life scenario, and how can if one person has that scenario, probably tons and thousands of other people do as well, or at least hundreds. So if I can identify something in the real world, I can probably share it on YouTube, and it's a way to sort of amplify any kind of answer that I might have.
Yeah. And so explain your monetization strategy as far as what you're doing on the channel, how you are distributing this educational type content, but yet you're also able to make money and helping other businesses do as well?
Yeah. So, I mean, YouTube is probably like everything surrounding YouTube. And I do a couple of things. So I am monetized. So I do get AdSense. I also have a platform where I sell digital products. So, and that's called Podia. I feel like some of your other guests have used that one, where you can sell courses or workshops, or I use spreadsheets a lot. So I will actually sell, an Excel spreadsheet that I've created. And then I also have affiliate links. So I have certain accounting softwares or different things that can help small businesses. I have affiliate links for those things. So kind of between all of that stuff, I call it like my digital income, I guess my more passive income overall in my business. And that's probably like 15 to 20% of the overall income in our business.
I want to ask you, I have a lot of people come on, email me, reach out to me that listen to the show, or just, found an episode because one of their creators that they follow was on the podcast. And they oftentimes ask me, they're like, well, I'm a business, whether it be a mom and pop shop, a doctor, a lawyer, a dentist, whatever it may be. How can I use YouTube? What is unique about YouTube as a platform that you've found over the time you've been on it, that as far as like not necessarily trying to bring in or rake in the most views or subscribers, but trying to land the perfect client or gaining clientele? What could you speak about that?
Yeah, I love the idea of using YouTube for any type of service-based business. I mean, you can absolutely use it for product-based businesses too, but one of the beautiful things that happens with YouTube is you get to really tell people in your own voice your beliefs about a certain topic.
Yes.
So, my finance topics, like the way I talk about money, is different than the way that somebody else is going to talk about money, or my, philosophies on profit, let's say, are going to be different than maybe somebody else. So a viewer can come in and see that and go, wow, like I really like the way that Hannah approaches things. And they, can reach out and come and work with us as from a one-to-one, basis. And you don't have to reach the millions to have a very, very healthy lead generation tool that can bring people into your business. So it kind of fast tracks that trust factor. Somebody's familiar with you already. They're like ready to work with you in a lot of ways if they've watched enough of your content and they know that you're helpful.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, I could not agree more. I feel like that YouTube, you can direct your content towards the people you want in such a way that not many platforms allow you to do that, and being able to be found by that I like to call it that perfect clientele, that perfect person that you would want to bring into your business, or you would want to bring on to buy your product or your service, like you mentioned. And I absolutely love that. Now, let's talk about things that maybe you failed on early on, whatever that may be. I'll let you kind of speak on that. But what are some things that you know now that you wish you would have known sooner?
Oh my gosh. I just feel like YouTube's a constant learning curve. And I think, I mean, I wish I had hired editing way earlier because I am totally not a creative. Like, I'm a numbers person, but and I was trying to like save some money, and I tried to edit my videos for a long time. And I think that was a big mistake. I should have hired that out a little bit earlier, because that's certainly not a strength of mine. But since it's not like my main thing, I was just trying to learn as I go, which I don't think is a bad approach at all. I don't know. I've made plenty of mistakes. Oh, I have a funny story of leaving a full 8-minute clip into a video talking about my editing, like 8 to 10-minute clip of me kind of yelling at my dog to stop barking, and going and getting a snack in between my video. You make mistakes sometimes with your upload, and that was one of mine.
I love that. I've definitely left in edits before. I remember early on I made a slip up and I said something that sounded very similar to a profane word, something that that was profanity. And I remember going back watching it when I got the comment and just showing my wife over and over, and her and I just got the biggest kick out of it. So we do make mistakes, we do mess up, and on YouTube, that's the beautiful thing about it, is that you can just apply that knowledge that you've learned, and just get better and better at what you do with consistency and just being able to upload, video after video. As far as you, and kind of what you're doing with the channel, you mix in YouTube Shorts with your normal uploaded videos. Speak on the kind of the types of content. Like, what have you found to work for you and your channel? I feel like you have a good mix of both the shorts plus the regular uploaded videos. Talk about that for a second.
Yeah, I've been playing around with shorts because I actually was, I hopped onto TikTok and I was kind of playing around with TikTok a little bit. But then I realized just what shorts were doing. I love being able to just capture a little nugget of something and be able to put it up onto YouTube. So my shorts are not the super entertaining ones with the background music and the, great editing or anything like that. But they are ways to capture like quick answers or like a thought, which I like to be able to do that. And then it ends up just kind of generating more traffic on the channel in general. So I love that. But yeah, I do some tutorials. So I'll actually like hop into something like QuickBooks Online and like teach people how to do certain things. So I do some of those screen sharing type videos. And then, unfortunately, there's a lot of talking head videos. I would love to figure out how I can start to transition out of that a little bit. But I've done interviews. I've done talking head. That's most of my content, is just me kind of explaining topics. Mm-hmm. I hop into, excuse me. I hop into spreadsheets sometimes. Like if I've created a spreadsheet for something and explaining a concept, I'll do that and use a screen sharing, screen capture. And then tutorials are also, software, payroll software or accounting software. I've done a couple different things.
And as far as the YouTube Shorts specifically, is that a yay or a nay from you? Like what would you say for people, who already have a YouTube channel or those, trying to grow a channel? I've heard different things. So I just want to ask you specifically, what are your thoughts on YouTube Shorts and what is your strategy there?
So I would say I don't have tons of strategy in all honesty, but I like them and I want to do more of them because I see a lot of opportunity for that really quick answer. Like part of me, and this is part of like engaging my audience, is I could see doing shorts that almost address questions in the YouTube comments. So like, cause I love pulling comments out. Cause if one person asks the question, 1,000 other people might have the question, but just didn't actually type it into the comment section.
Correct.
So you can use some of that information as great ideas for, coming up with something really quick on YouTube and on the shorts, but also they're just so quick and easy to put up. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm not the artistic channel, right? Like people don't come to my channel because it's, beautiful to look at and really well edited. And, like that's not why people are watching my channel. It's because they're getting information. So for me, when I can, get that information out really quickly through a short, it's a win-win.
Yeah, I've often said, and I've said this many, many times before, shorts, I wish there was a way that YouTube displayed them differently. I wish they were organized separately from other bits of content. There's so many different things. I've got a bunch of notes jotted down somewhere about how I believe that YouTube can make shorts better and more optimized. And for exactly the reason you said, because I feel like for somebody like me and a channel like mine, a channel like yours, who does a lot of educational and instructional content, it would be wonderful just to be able to whip up a YouTube short really quickly and respond to a comment or a question or update a video, whatever it may be. I just think there's so many benefits and such cool things they could do with it. And so I could not agree more with what you just said in exactly the use cases that you mentioned.
Yeah. I mean, and I think it's kind of an experimental time with shorts.
Yes.
So, I mean, I think play around with it. I would, any creator, like just play around with it, see what you think about it. Does it work for you? Does it not? Is your audience liking it? Is it not? And then just kind of tweak and test.
Yeah, because we still don't know. I mean, some people say we do, but we don't know 100% what it does to your channel. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know the effects that it has. People talked about this for years with streaming and kind of how it affects the channel, and all these YouTube talking heads talk about, this or that. We don't really have a exact comment or statement from YouTube yet. So again, I like shorts. I'm not against them. People have emailed me. I've gotten so much hate over the past year or two or and a half or so about, people saying, well, why don't you have more creators who just do shorts, or why do you talk so down about I feel like I need to know more about them, and I've not found them to work for me, but that doesn't mean they're not going to work for you. And obviously Hannah has found a great niche to use shorts on, and I think it's going to work for her in the long run as well. So the next question I have for you is about you, the person, Hannah the individual. You obviously have mentioned this a couple of times about, you didn't consider yourself a creative, but you obviously are now, because you are a creator on YouTube, whether you want to be or not, right? And so with that being the case, what have you learned about yourself, like the things that you do well and the things that you do not so well?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I've learned a lot. I feel like YouTube has been a personal growth journey to some degree. The first time I ever turned on a video and went live on any platform, I was terrified. Like I like the biggest butterflies. I was about to die when I probably had an audience of about 2 people who actually watched my video, probably one of them being my mom. Right. And I was always like very timid to get in front of any type of audience. So it's been kind of this, test of, knowing and developing confidence in myself to be like, I know what I know, and I have something of value that I can share with people, and that people will, need to know this information. And so it's been kind of a testing for myself personally to just, believe that I have something valuable that people might actually want to listen to. And so, and that's just kind of, that's those thoughts creep back in. I think everybody has probably heard of imposter syndrome. Why me? Why am I the person who has a platform? But, kind of doubling down into that, and also being like, somebody needs to do this work. And I do feel like I'm learning, and I'm happy to share. And I'm also like, I'm on the journey, and I know I'm not going to be perfect. But it's more important for people to learn this stuff than for me to be scared and walk away from it.
I want to ask you, what was it you just mentioned in that answer? You said, when I realized that I had something worth sharing and that there were people who were wanting to listen to it. What was that? I don't know, whatever you want to call it, that aha moment that you had that made you, whether it was a comment you got or a family member or friend who mentioned the stuff that you were creating, what was it that made you realize, okay, I do have something to share that's worth sharing, and I want to put it out there?
Well, like when I was doing all the PPP videos, I was getting all these comments that were like, you explain this better than I've ever seen. I've watched like all the videos on this, and you've explained it and made it so clear and easy. Thank you so much. Those were my comments that were coming in. And as somebody who never saw myself as a clear communicator. But as I was doing these videos, I was starting to realize that naturally I had the ability to take something that seemed complicated and demystify it and make it easy to understand for people. And when I started getting the feedback of like, wow, this was so helpful. Oh my goodness. Like now I understand. Now I can go and get this kind of game-changing loan that I never have to pay back, which was so amazing. Like the fact that it was actually changing people's lives to some degree, like made me just say like, I have to keep doing this. And after that point in time, I've been able to explain other concepts And I recently just had a friend reach out and say, like, this one thing you said, Hannah, transformed my business. And I was like, oh my gosh, like you were listening. And I mean, that is so rewarding. I will keep doing it for that alone. Just knowing that I could make an impact on somebody, even if they never pay me $1, I could, bring something that transforms their business. That's amazing.
Yeah, I've shared this before on the podcast, and I'm sure I will in the future. I just love talking about it. Just, when the pandemic started, there were so many people, whether it was a church or a small business or even an individual, and they would reach out to me and they would say, it was because of your videos that I was able to Zoom my family, or I was able to Zoom our church service or our event that we were having that we had to go virtual, and it was because of your tutorials. And that's when I realized, okay, there's more to this than just hitting upload, or, it's more than just surface level. So I love hearing people like you talk about that as well.
Yeah. That's so great.
So much more to it than just
makes
hitting upload.
It definitely makes it worth it, because a lot of times you don't hear anything, or you hear crickets, or then you hear, maybe a nasty comment or something here and there. And those good ones really help.
It can be lonely. It can be a very lonely place to be in, and folks who are not in it think to themselves, well, it's an easy job. Anybody can do it. There's so many things that are said about creators and YouTubers in general. And so when I hear that, I'm like, no, that's not the case. There's so many things that, just like in any other job, right? And just like in any other occupation or hobby, there's things that most folks, unless you're doing it day to day, don't know about it. And I kind of want to use that as a transition next into the next question. And for you, what are those things? What are those struggles that you come, day to day for you, and how are you getting past those?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of my struggle is just like super practical. I mean, really thinking about, when do I record? How do I get this up? I mean, I'm running a business. I'm a single mom, like just trying to like do all the things, like run my household, do the things. And so just finding the time to like plan for videos, really record them, get them uploaded, get them to where they need to be in the timeline they need to be, but always kind of trying to look a little bit ahead. That's been one of the biggest challenges, just very practical. Like, usually this means like I'm setting aside a Saturday that's like, okay, I, get ready, do my hair, makeup, whatever. And then I usually batch record. So that's been one of my saving graces, is when I can batch record, 3 or 4 videos at a time. That's the ideal situation. And that's what I'm trying to move more towards.
That's what I was going to ask you, is being a mother, being someone who has a family, how are you balancing all of this? A job, a YouTube channel that's very successful and currently growing. You talked about batch recording, but are there any other things that you could say about folks out there who's just like, I don't have the time? Were you like me and realized, wait a minute, that hour I was watching the Netflix new Star Wars show, I could have been working on YouTube or whatever your hobby X or Y is?
Yes. I mean, I would say I spent the most amount of time working on videos when I was also like reading and digesting like all of the pandemic funding literature. Like I read every single rule that came out. So I was prepping tons of hours. That was what I was doing on a Friday night. I would like get my glass of wine and then just like read tons of paperwork, because that was like, what I was doing to prep for those videos. So that took a lot of time. Now my videos take less time to prep, but I would say it is a trade-off of time. And I don't do tons of binge watching anything on Netflix. And if I do watch something, it's usually like, just on a Friday night relaxing. But I mean, I have no problem with doing that. I actually would love to have a little bit more time to just kind of read books or have a little bit more downtime. And I'm working on that. It's like, I've got to have the balance of exploring personal hobbies and not making work my hobby. But I think it's just about like prioritization. And if YouTube is important to me, which I believe it is, then I need to prioritize it in my calendar and, set aside time and, just say like, hey, if this is something you want, you got to work at it. And I make the time.
Yeah, when you figure that out, how to have more free time and downtime for hobbies and whatever it may be, please call me back. Let me know. 'Cause it's
Well, let's also put that in the calendar. I put everything in the calendar. I'm like, okay, I'm playing tennis on Saturday mornings on the calendar.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen.
with two kids under the age of 7 right now. It's just hard, and it's not bad things. They're not bad things. I love every bit of it, but that doesn't mean they're not stressful at times. And there's things that go on that maybe not allows me to work on my YouTube channel as much as I might like. And I, very similar to you, have a bad tendency of turning my job into my hobbies, or the things that are supposed to be fun or relaxing or an escape. And that's something that a lot of people do, and it ends up you have 2 full-time jobs and you just can't manage it. That's a struggle, and that's why a lot of folks quit YouTube, is because they don't realize they're doing it.
Yeah. And I mean, it can be fun, and that's great if your work is fun, but you also need to make sure that that's not the only thing you have in life.
Absolutely. All right. So in conclusion, now that we're reaching the 30-minute mark here, wow, the time just flew by. Now that we're reaching the 30-minute mark, I want to ask you, what's next for you? Like in the YouTube channel, short-term and long-term, what are you looking to do?
Yeah, I was actually just talking to I have a marketing person on my team, and we were chatting about this morning. I am actually going to take a strategic break and refocus the channel a little bit closer towards the end of the year. So I'm going to kind of finish out some content that we have through September, and I'm going to take a very intentional, pointed break to come up with, I'm going to be changing some things up, both in my technology and a couple other things. And then I'm going to be coming back full force in December. That's the current plan, to take just a little bit of a step back, because with my audience changed a little bit between the people who are coming to me for loan information, and then the people who are really watching all my videos now on really how to improve their overall financial health. So it's maybe a little bit of reworking on who the target audience is. And I want to sort of be really intentional and understand who I'm talking to.
I love that. Not many people understand that sometimes it's okay to take a break. Sometimes it's okay to just reset. We think of it as we're quitting, or we hear the consistency word so much. You did not answer that by saying, well, I'm done. I'm never coming back. I'm not going to be consistent. You answered that by saying that you're just going to take a little break, little reset button, and you're going to be back better than ever with new technology, new stuff. I love that. That's an awesome answer.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually my brain's already in 2023 and what I want to do. So I know I'm coming back. I just, I want to be really clear. And I'm going to be taking time to actually talk to people who have been watching the channel for a long time. I'm going to set up interviews so people can actually we can just chat, because I would love to understand my viewers better, because I think that will make the channel that much better.
Awesome. Lastly, I want to ask you, where can my audience get in touch with you? What's the best way for them to find you on the internet?
Yeah, so I'm pretty much everywhere at Clara CFO Group. So CLARA CFO Group. So I mostly hang out on YouTube. I am on TikTok as well. And you can also find me on LinkedIn at Hannah Smolinski, CPA. And feel free to email me too, Hannah at Clara CFO. I like to hear from people. So hit me up.
Hannah, thank you so much for coming on this podcast today, talking about your channel and the success you've had so far. I cannot wait to see what you do next, especially after that reset coming in December. And hopefully you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you so much, Dusty. This has been really fun.
You've been listening to the YouTube Creators Podcast. We want to thank you and invite you to subscribe to the show, as well as support us on Patreon for great perks, such as having your YouTube channel featured on the show and a link on our website. Until next time, keep uploading those videos.